Hi guys, you're welcome to a new tutorial. Now this tutorial is on how to make a bustier top and a trouser. When you combine it together, it becomes a jumpsuit. Now there are tricks or there are measurements you need to add and some things you need to take from a trouser to make a jumpsuit. So this is the one I've made for a client. She is on a smaller part, so my mannequin is not entering my mannequin. Now this is the inside, that is the bustier part, and the wide leg is actually a wide leg jumpsuit, or you can call it a palazzo jumpsuit. I've got requests when subscribers ask me to make a palazzo or wide leg trouser. Now this is it. Let's get started. So the first thing is you're going to fold your fabric into two. Fold enough fabric that would accommodate your the wide leg size you want. And I went ahead to mark 3 inches from the starting line because it is a jumpsuit, so that 3 inches is what we'll use to join the upper part. It needs to be longer than your initial waistline. Now after that guys, I'm going to be marking 4 inches all the way down. Now this 4 inches, I will rule it. This is before the actual measurement. So from that 4 inches line is where we will now start taking the trouser measurement. So after getting these two lines, now we can now start with our measurement. So you can do 5 inches, you can do 4, you can do 3, but 4 is okay. Now from the waistline, I went down by 9.75. that is the client round hip divided by 4. Our hip is 39 divided by 4, we have 9.25. So I square up the line. Then after that guys, I'm going to put the nail length. Now our nail length is 21 inches. You can measure your client for their nail length, and if the situation whereby the client is not available for you to measure their nail length, divide the length of the trouser by 2, then you use it as your nail length. After that guys, I went ahead to mark the full length of this tutorial. Now the full length is 42, yeah, and I added 1.5 inches for folding or hemming allowance. Then I also square up that line so I can cut off the excess of what I don't need. So these are the vertical measurements, that's the straight measurement. Now the next thing is to now insert our horizontal measurement. So on that crotch depth, I put the same hip measurement. The crotch depth is your round hip divided by 4, that is the length. Then I repeat the same hip measurement on the crotch line and on the waistline. Now I'm going to roll it all the way up. So because like I said, it is a jumpsuit, we are rolling it all the way up. But now if it's a trouser you are making, you're going to come down on this side by 1.5 inches. But for a jumpsuit, you don't need that 1.5 inches intake. Just roll your hip measurement all the way to the starting of this. Then guys, on the crotch line there, I put the lap measurement. Now the lap measurement divided by 2, a lap is 24, divided by 2 is 12 inches, and I went up by 2 inches. So that place where you see my hand touching and where I'm going to roll now is the hip length. Just go up by 2 inches from your crotch depth, and in between that part here, for you to get a proper curve, mark 1 inch there, then you connect it, let it touch the 1 inch, then to the 2 inches, then you just curve it all the way up. Most people find that part difficult, getting a good curve. That is why I did that. Now from this starting point, we're going to put the waist measurement. Now our waist is 31 divided by 4, we have 7.75. So I'm going to add ½ inch to it. Now, those of you that have watched my trouser video, I don't add any allowance to the sides of my trouser, but I'm doing this for those that will always complain, ma, the ½ inches is too, or the ½ inch is too small for zip allowance. So go ahead and add ½ inch, then you connect it to the hip line, so that when you are going to sew later, you're going to have 1 inch to sew your zip. Okay guys, so I divided the lap measurement by 2. Remember, it's 24 divided by 2, we put there, that's 12 inches. Now divide the 12 inches by 2, we have 6 inches. So put the 6 inches on the knee line and on the hem line. We're now going to rule a straight line. That becomes the center line for our trouser. Now this center line is where we start sharing the measurements henceforth by 4. Okay, so on the nail, I'm going to put the round nail. Now a round nail, when I measure it tight on a nail, is 18 inches. I added 2 inches. You have to add 2 inches to whatever you have for ease. Then you divide it by 4. So that's 5 on both sides. Yeah, when you divide it by 220, that's 10. Then you divide it on both sides, that is 5. Then you connect it to your hip line and to your crotch depth and to your crotch line. Then from there guys, now I'm teaching you guys 2 ways on how to get a wide leg. Okay, so from this center line, I mark 9 inches outward. Then I also mark 9 inches on the other side. That is how wide I want the trouser to be. I also mark 9 inches on this other side. Now I'm going to connect from the nail to the hem line. Now this is another way of you getting a wide leg. I'm still going to put the second way of getting a wide leg. So you can either use this or the other one. Okay, so the second one now is connecting it from the hip all the way down. I'm just showing you this one. Now if you check my thumbnail, you're going to see 2 different pictures on the thumbnail. Now this first one we did now is for the first one, that it is not too wide. Now the second one is this one, where you see my ruler touching, that is from the hip line. I'm going to rule it all the way to meet the 9 inches at the hemline. I hope you guys understand. So you do that for the second side. I'm just blending that in so it should, I don't like any curvy or sharp angle around the hip area. So for this other side, for the crotch side, I'm going to place my ruler that way and I would extend it all the way to the hemline. So can you see that we have 2 different patterns now? This is like a 2-in-1 tutorial. So guys, you can give me a like for that. So I'm just showing you. So you can either use one and you use one. That's why I use a different chalk. Now let's cut. So for the tutorial, for the one I choose the one on the yellow chalk, because that is how wide the client wants her jumpsuit to be. So this is the front pattern. We are going to place it on another fabric so we can cut the back now. So you have to place it properly. Now the front and the back on the waistline will have to be the same thing. Now this is not the normal trouser, like if you are sewing a trouser, this is a jumpsuit, so we are attaching it upward. We don't need any extension on the upper part of the waist for the back. So after placing it together, the side seam have to be the same thing. So I'm cutting off that part so that we can continue with the crotch. Whatever allowance we are adding is the crotch. Now this is me notching all my points. I like notching so that when I'm sewing, all my notch lines will meet. I will not have any issue of one side being shorter or one side being longer. So guys, for the back crotch, I'm going to extend the line of the crotch line. Then on the waist, guys, I'm putting the exact measurement now of 7.75. that is excluding that half inch. I'm going to indicate it, that is it, that way. Then I'm adding 2 inches, so you can do 2.5 is left for you if you want enough allowance on your trouser. But I did 2 inches, then I connected it from that 2 inches straight to meet the front crotch. The front crotch, guys. Yeah, so from there I'm just making sure the back crotch is a straight line. Then for this back crotch, guys, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches outward. Then on the knee line, I'm marking to 2 inches. I'm also connecting the lines so I can have a straight line. So I'll mark 2 inches there. Then on the hemline, I'll also mark 2 inches. Now I've got a question where somebody asked me in the comment section of my previous trouser video that if they are making a wide leg, is it necessary to still add this allowance? Since it is wide enough, it is necessary, guys. You have to add it. Now this is me just making sure all my lines are straight. Now I'm just rolling all the points together from the 2.5 to the 2 inches on the knee line. After that, guys, now from the crotch we are going to curve. Now watch the way I'm curving. So you just curve that way, you blend it up to go and meet the 2 inches on the upper part there. So you blend it like that to meet it up. So we are done, we're almost done with this trouser. So I also just drew that line. Now we're going to do a calculation. I normally do calculations. Those of you that have watched my videos know. So for the front hip, I measured it. Then I'm also going to measure the back. Now I did the back one first. I'm also measuring the front. So whatever I have, I would times it by 2. Each one, you know, there are two pieces. So everything I have, I'm going to get the total number. Then I'll now minus the initial hip measurement of the client. So when I minus, whatever it is left that gives me, if it is below 7 inches, guys, what you will just do is, where you see me touching, you can just increase it that way. Just come out a little and increase it so that it will not be too tight for you. Yeah, but if you follow this tutorial, you won't have any issue with it being too tight. It's going to be okay. Then after that, we are going to start cutting. So like I said, let me go over it once again. What your front hip gives you, you times it by 2. What your back hip gives you, you times it by 2. Then you now plus it together. You now minus your initial hip measurement. Then what it gives you left, if it's 7, if it's 8 and black, all that, then you know it is okay. But if it is lesser than 7, you just increase it where I increase it from. So guys, we are done drafting the front and the back. I went ahead to cut it. Then let's cut the pocket, guys. So this is, I got this fabric, I folded it into 2 and also into 2 because we need 4 pieces for the pocket. Now you're going to place your front pattern on it, just the front pattern. You place it on it, make sure everything is okay. Then you're going to cut the shape of the hip first. So this is me cutting out the shape of the hip all the way to the crotch line. Then I also cut out the upper part, the shape. Then after that, I'm going to remove the front trouser, and I'm going to reduce this length because it's too long. Now guys, for those who have not watched our best selling, let me call it best selling trouser video, I'm going to drop the link in the comment section for you guys to watch. I also reduce the side length, yeah, so that the pocket will not be too big. After that, I'm going to place the pocket. Now I removed 2 out of the 4. I think I did not show you that. So guys, we're going to get the pocket shape now. I went in by 1.5 inch on the waistline. Then from the actual waistline, I went down by 6 inches. I think that would be 9 inches altogether. Yeah, so if you are doing just your trouser alone without this jumpsuit extension, just do 7 inches for the pocket length. So after cutting it, so we have 2 pieces. This is the pocket facing. Like I said, I already removed 2. You know, it was 4. After getting the hip shape and the upper part shape, I removed 2. Then I now cut 2 as the pocket facing plus the trouser itself. So now let's start sewing the pockets on it. So you take the front piece, you're going to open it that way. Guys, I realized that it was the front part I did all my chalk. I'm going to clean it up with, with water later. So you place the pocket facing on each other, right side to right side. Can you see it? Then you're going to sew with 0.25. Don't sew with 1/2 inch. Just sew with 0.25. And let me go and sew. After sewing, guys, this is how it is, and I also top stitch the pocket facing. So this is it when I finish sewing. Now when you place it, when you fold it inside, this is how it's going to be. Yeah, so but now I'm going to open it back. Then I'll take the pocket filler. So you're going to place one. Now I notch my sides pocket so that I will know the side that is going to be on the inside, so that I will not place the hip line side on the inside. So I'm going to place it on each other that way, and I'll sew with 1/2 inch. I'll sew like that, and like this, just the way you see my chalk. That is how I'm going to sew. Then I'm going to sew that way too, where the facing stop when I was sewing. You would know when you get there, you would know where to stop. Can you see it? That's where you stop sewing from. So for the second one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll place my pocket filler on the facing, right side to right side, guys. Yeah, so you place it on each other. Make sure your notch line, everything meets, so you not sew a wrong pocket. Then I'm also going to sew like that, like this, and like that. So we're not sewing the upper parts, it's just where you see my chalk touching. After sewing it, guys, this is how you now fold it inside. When you fold it inside, now you have your pocket inward already. Now the next thing is to sew the pockets together. This is the second one. I'm just showing you. When you place it, then you sew the upper part like that. Here you sew the other side just to secure the pocket to the front trouser. Now we've done that and our pocket is secured already. So we're going to bring in the back, that's the back trouser, and the front, because I normally sew my one piece of the back and one piece of the front together. I'll place them on each other, right side to right side, and I'm going to sew the side seam. That is how I sew my trouser. Now I'm going to mark 1 inch for the side seam. Remember, I added half inch to this. If I did not add half inch to it initially to the waistline, I'm only going to be sewing with half inch. So from the crotch line, I went up by 2 inches. That indicates the hip line. Then on that hip, I mark half inch. So the 1 inch from the waist is going to meet the half inch on the hip line. Then from that half inch on the hip line is half inch all the way down that I will sew. I hope you guys understand this. For those that always complain that half inch is too small for them to fix their zip if they are sewing a trouser. So this is a jumpsuit actually, but I'm just doing that for you guys to understand. Now I place the second one also. The second two pieces that is remaining, that's the back and front on each other, the side same. From the crotch line, I went up by 2 inches. And then on the waist, I mark 1 inch. And I also mark half inch on the hip line. Then I connected it to the 1 inch. Then from there, it's going to be half inch all the way down. It's going to be half inch all the way down. So I'm going to sew the trouser now. After sewing, guys, this is how it is. Then I went ahead to open it up. Can you see it? Then I'm going to place one on each other. That's the two pieces that I sew on each other. So when you place them on each other, the first one you're going to sew is the smaller part. That is the part that have the pocket. Now you're going to sew half inch on the crotch line. Yeah, from the waist all the way to the crotch that way. You're going to sew it down with half inch. Then so guys, I've finished sewing it and I'm going to flip it to the other side because my sewing hand is on the right hand side. So that is where I always put the chalk. After sewing, this is how it is. Then we're going to measure your waist. Now your waist will be divided by 2 because this is folded into 2. So her waist is 31 divided by 2. Whatever I got is what I'm going to put from the line there. You know we sew half inch, so starting from that half inch, now you're going to sew it. You're going to mark half inch all the way down. So guys, for those that have also watched my trouser video, you know how it is, you know how we do. So measure your actual waist, whatever it gives you, you sew, you curve it to meet the half inch on the crotch line. Then guys, you're going to sew the sides of the trouser, no sorry, the inside of the trouser. So you place them on each other. You're going to sew half inch all round. Yep, you sew half inch all round. After sewing, this is it. Our jumpsuit trouser is almost getting ready. Then I'm going to iron it and weave it. So this is it guys. I've gone ahead to weave inside. I iron before I weave. Most people weave before they sew their trouser, but I normally sew before I weave. Then for the hemline, the 1.5 inches I added for hemming allowance, I'm going to sew it. Guys, we are going to continue this tutorial in another video. It is getting too long, so the upper part is very comprehensive and interesting. Thank you guys for watching.